Please tell me Mr. Ramos is not replacing me as Dr. Doom via Parker Robbins. Is there something you're not telling me?
Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Dr. Doom, and the internet lost its mind when that announcement dropped. But here's what barely anyone is talking about. What if Dr. Doom has been hiding in plain sight this entire time? What if Marvel has been planting clues, biased things, dropping hints, leaving breadcrumbs about Victor Von Doom since the very first Iron Man movie in 2008? What if the greatest villain in Marvel Comics history has been lurking in the shadows of the MCU for 16 years, and we were all too blind to see it? Buckle up, because what I'm about to show you is going to completely change how you watch every single MCU film. We're talking about Easter eggs so subtle that you missed them on your first watch, your second watch, probably your 10th watch. We're talking about fan theories that seemed crazy when they first appeared online, but now, with Downey confirmed as Doom, suddenly make perfect sense. We're talking about a conspiracy so deep, so intricately woven through the fabric of the MCU that it makes you question whether Kevin Feige is a producer or a time-traveling sorcerer. Let's start at the very beginning. Iron Man, 2008. The movie that launched the entire MCU. Most people remember the iconic cave scene where Tony Stark builds his first armor. But what they don't remember, what most people completely missed, is a single line of dialogue that might be the earliest Doctor Doom reference in the entire franchise. When Obadiah Stane is talking to the scientists trying to recreate Tony's arc reactor technology, one of them mentions that they've consulted with foreign specialists in Eastern Europe about advanced energy systems. Eastern Europe. Where is Latveria, Dr. Doom's fictional country, located? Eastern Europe, coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe Marvel was already planting seeds. But it gets deeper. In that same film, during the scene where Tony is looking at his father's old Stark Expo materials, there's a brief shot of a world map in Howard Stark's office. Fans who froze the frame and enhanced the image noticed something strange. There's a marker on the map in a location that doesn't correspond to any real country. It's positioned exactly where Latveria would be if it existed in the real world. The marker is small, easy to miss, but it's there. Why would Howard Stark, brilliant inventor and founder of S.H.I.E.L.D., have a marker on a fictional Eastern European country unless that country actually existed in the MCU? Jump to Iron Man 2 in 2010. This is where the Doom Easter eggs start getting really interesting. Remember the scene at the Stark Expo where Ivan Vanko attacks Tony with his whiplash weapons? In the background, if you look very carefully, there are flags from various countries displayed around the expo. Most of them are real countries, but there's one flag that doesn't match any real nation. It's green with a complex symbol that fans have identified as remarkably similar to Dr. Doom's heraldic crest from the comics. The flag appears for maybe 3 seconds total across multiple shots. You'd have to be specifically looking for it to notice. But it's there. Also in Iron Man 2, there's a scene where Nick Fury is briefing Tony about the Avengers initiative. On Fury's tablet, if you freeze frame and zoom in, you can see a list of persons of interest that S.H.I.E.L.D. is monitoring. Most of the names are blurred out or redacted, but one name, visible for just a fraction of a second, appears to be V. Von D followed by redacted text. Fans have debated this for years. Some think it's nothing, a random Easter egg that doesn't mean anything. Others are convinced this is proof that S.H.I.E.L.D. knew about Victor Von Doom as early as 2010, and were tracking him. Now let's talk about the Avengers in 2012. This is where things get really wild. During the Battle of New York, when the Chitauri are invading and destroying the city, there's a brief news broadcast playing in the background. The news ticker at the bottom of the screen scrolls through various headlines about the invasion. One of those headlines, visible for literally 2 seconds, reads, "Latverian embassy evacuated during attack. Latveria, named explicitly." In the MCU, in 2012, 7 years before the Fantastic Four were even announced as joining the MCU, 12 years before Robert Downey Jr. was revealed as Doom, Marvel was playing the long game? But wait, it gets crazier. In that same battle when Captain America is coordinating the evacuation and giving orders to police officers, there's a wide shot of the city. In that shot, if you zoom in on the buildings in the background, one of them has a flag flying at half-mast. Fans who enhance the image claim that flag has the same green color and similar design to the mysterious flag from the Stark Expo and Iron Man 2. Is this the Latverian embassy that was mentioned in the news ticker? Almost certainly. Iron Man 3 in 2013 is particularly interesting because it deals with the Mandarin, a fake villain created by Aldrich Killian. But here's the thing. During the scene where Tony is investigating the Mandarin's broadcasts, he's looking at a map of terrorist attacks around the world. Most of the attacks are in the Middle East, Asia, places you'd expect. But there's one marker on the map in Eastern Europe, in that same location where Latveria would be. Tony doesn't comment on it, doesn't investigate it, but it's there. Why would the Mandarin, a fake terrorist created by an American scientist, have an attack marker in Latveria? Unless someone else, someone real, was operating from that location. Captain America. The Winter Soldier in 2014 gave us the infamous Zola algorithm scene where Arnim Zola reveals that Hydra has been infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D. for decades. When the algorithm is analyzing threats to Hydra's plan, it shows a global map with thousands of targets marked for elimination. Most of those targets are individuals scattered around the world. But there's a cluster of targets in one specific location in Eastern Europe. You know where I'm going with this. That cluster is positioned right where Latveria would be. Why would Hydra's algorithm identify so many threats in one small Eastern European country, unless that country had resources, technology, or leadership that posed a genuine threat to Hydra's plans? Unless that country was ruled by someone brilliant and powerful enough to be considered a major obstacle. Unless that someone was Victor Von Doom. There's also a scene in Winter Soldier that fans have obsessed over for years. When Black Widow is accessing S.H.I.E.L.D.'s database and downloading classified files, the screen shows a list of file names scrolling by. Most are typical government designations. But one file name, visible for maybe half a second, reads Project Doom classified. Now this could be anything. The government loves dramatic code names, but in the context of everything else we're seeing, the accumulation of all these hints and clues, it's hard to believe this is just random. Avengers. Age of Ultron in 2015 is where the Doom connections get technological. Ultron is an artificial intelligence created by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner, but he evolves beyond their control. During Ultron's research montage, where he's accessing the entire internet and learning everything about humanity, there's a shot of data streaming across screens. In that data stream, if you slow it down and analyze it frame by frame, there are references to Latverian AI research, Von Doom Institute, and unauthorized access from Eastern European servers. Ultron is learning about Doom's technology. Ultron is potentially interacting with Latverian computer systems. The implications are massive. There's also the scene where Ultron is acquiring vibranium from Ulysses Klaue. Klaue mentions that he's sold vibranium to various clients over the years. He doesn't name them all, but he says, some very powerful people, some very powerful countries. In the background during this conversation, if you listen carefully to the ambient sounds, you can hear what sounds like an Eastern European accent speaking on a phone call. It's barely audible, mixed under the main dialogue, but sound engineers and obsessive fans have isolated it. The voice appears to be speaking a Slavic language, possibly Latverian, if we're assuming Latveria has its own language. Is this one of Klaue's clients? Did Dr. Doom buy vibranium from Klaue years before we ever see him on screen? Captain America. Civil War in 2016 is absolutely loaded with potential Doom references. And this is where fan theories really started to gain traction. The Sokovia Accords, the international agreement to regulate superheroes, are signed by 117 countries. We see representatives from many nations, but the cameras don't show everyone. Fans have speculated that Latveria was one of the signatory nations. Why wouldn't they be? If Latveria exists, in the MCU, if it's a recognized country, it would absolutely want to be involved in regulating superpowered individuals, especially if it's ruled by someone who would see the Avengers as potential threats to his power. There's a scene where Secretary Ross is briefing the Avengers about the Accords. Behind him is a screen showing a map of the world with all the signatory nations highlighted. Most of the map is straightforward, but there's one highlighted region in Eastern Europe that doesn't correspond to any real country's exact borders. It's slightly off, as if the map has been altered to include a fictional nation, Latvia. Also in Civil War during the airport battle, there's a moment where Iron Man is accessing satellite data to track Captain America's team. On his HUD, we see various international intelligence feeds. One of those feeds, labeled Latverian State Security, appears for maybe a second. Why would Tony Stark have access to Latverian intelligence? Why would Latveria? Why have state security important enough to be monitored by Stark technology? Unless Latveria is a significant player on the world stage, unless its leader is someone Tony considers worth watching. Doctor Strange in 2016 opens up the mystical side of the MCU, and this is crucial because Doctor Doom isn't just a technological genius. In the comics, he's also one of the most powerful sorcerers in the Marvel Universe. During Strange's training at Kamar-Taj, the Ancient One shows him the multiverse, different dimensions, different realities. In one of those brief flashes, blink and you'll miss it, there's an image that looks remarkably like a medieval castle surrounded by mystical energy. Fans have identified this as potentially being Castle Doom in Latveria. The Ancient One is showing Strange all the threats and powers across dimensions. Why would she show him Latveria unless it had mystical significance? There's also a scene where Wong is listing dangerous artifacts and individuals that the masters of the mystic arts monitor. He mentions dimensional threats, mystical despots, those who would use magic for conquest. He doesn't name Doctor Doom specifically, but the description fits perfectly. And when he's talking, there's a book visible on the shelf behind him. Fans who enhance the image claim the book's spine has text that includes Doom and what might be Latverian symbols. Again, this could be nothing, or it could be everything. Spider-Man. Homecoming in 2017 is interesting because it's focused on street-level threats, but there are still connections. Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, is salvaging alien technology and selling weapons made from it. He mentions having international buyers, people with serious money, governments looking for an edge. We never see all of his clients, but there's a scene where he's looking at a list of buyers on a tablet, and one entry is listed as LE, which fans speculate could stand for Latverian Embassy or even Latverian Emperor, a potential title for Doom. There's also Peter Parker's computer research scene where he's trying to track down the weapons dealers. He's looking at international arms trade data, and there's a spike in purchases from an unnamed Eastern European country. The data shows advanced technology being imported from the United States to this country at a suspicious rate. Peter doesn't investigate further because it's not relevant to his immediate case. But we, the audience, knowing what we know now, can connect the dots. Thor. Ragnarok in 2017 takes place mostly off-Earth, but there's a crucial scene at the beginning where Thor and Loki are in New York meeting with Doctor Strange. During that meeting, Strange mentions that he monitors threats to Earth from mystical sources. He has a list, what he calls his watch list, of individuals who could pose magical dangers. The list is never shown on screen, but Strange implies it's extensive. Would Victor Von Doom, a master of both technology and sorcery, be on that list? Absolutely. Strange might have been tracking Doom for years without ever directly confronting him. Black Panther in 2018 is absolutely critical for Doom connections because it deals with Wakanda, another technologically advanced African nation that hides its true capabilities from the world. Latveria and Wakanda are parallels in many ways. Both are small nations with resources and technology far beyond what the world knows. During the UN scene where Wakanda reveals itself, there's a shot of international representatives reacting to T'Challa's announcement. In the crowd, there's a man wearing green and silver, colors associated with Doctor Doom, who looks notably different from the other diplomats. He's never identified, he has no lines, but fans have speculated this could be a Latverian representative, possibly even Doom himself in disguise, observing Wakanda's reveal and analyzing how a hidden technological nation handles going public. There's also the scene where Shuri is showing her technology to Everett Ross and making jokes about how Wakandan tech is far beyond what the West has. She mentions that some countries try to keep up, but they're years behind. Is she including Latveria in that? Or is Latveria one of the few countries that might actually be close to Wakanda's level? In the comics, Doom's technology rivals and sometimes surpasses Wakandan science. The MCU might be setting up that same dynamic. Avengers. Infinity War in 2018 deals with Thanos collecting the Infinity Stones and wiping out half of all life in the universe. During the chaos, during the snap, we see people across the world turning to dust. We see it in New York, in Wakanda, on alien planets, but we don't see everywhere. We don't see Latveria. Now, this might mean nothing. Marvel couldn't show every country on Earth. But fan theories have emerged suggesting that Doom, with his combination of technology and magic, might have protected Latveria from the snap, that he might have erected a barrier or used sorcery to shield his country from Thanos' power. It's speculative, but it would explain why Latveria hasn't been a bigger part of the MCU yet. Doom has been keeping his nation hidden, protected, waiting for the right moment to reveal himself. There's also the scene where Doctor Strange is looking through 14 million possible futures trying to find a way to defeat Thanos. He sees one future where they win. But fans have obsessed over what Strange saw in those other futures. Did some of them involve Doctor Doom? Did Strange see timelines where Doom became a major player, where his actions affected the outcome? There's a brief moment where Strange's face shows what looks like recognition or concern about something specific, something he doesn't share with the others. Could that something be Doom? Captain Marvel in 2019 takes place mostly in the 1990s, but there are scenes in the present day. During Carol Danvers' return to Earth, she's catching up on what she's missed. There's a montage of news broadcasts and internet articles flashing across screens showing major world events from the past 20-plus years. In that montage, barely visible, is a headline about Latverian sovereignty dispute resolved. This suggests Latveria has been involved in international politics, border conflicts, the kinds of things that happen when a nation is establishing itself or defending its territory. Doom building his empire. Avengers. Endgame in 2019 is the culmination of the Infinity Saga, and it's also potentially loaded with Doom setup for the future. During the 5-year time jump after the snap, the world changes dramatically. Governments collapse, new powers emerge, global politics shift. We see some of this through news broadcasts and conversations, but we don't see everything. Fan theories suggest that Latveria used those 5 years to expand its influence, that Doom took advantage of the chaos to position himself as a major world leader. When everyone comes back from the snap, they find a world where Latveria is no longer a footnote, but a significant power. There's the scene where the Avengers are discussing who has resources and technology to help them build a time machine. They mention Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, Shuri in Wakanda, but they also mention needing international cooperation and accessing foreign databases. Who are they talking to? What databases are they accessing? Could some of that technology or information have come from Latveria without the Avengers even realizing it? Could Doom have been quietly helping them, not out of altruism, but because he wanted Thanos defeated and people restored for his own purposes? And then there's Tony Stark's death, the snap that saves the universe but kills him. Robert Downey Jr.'s final moment as Iron Man. Knowing now that Downey is coming back as Dr. Doom, fans have started re-examining that death scene with new eyes. What if Tony didn't completely die? What if his consciousness was preserved somehow? What if Doom finds a way to access Tony's memories, his knowledge, his technology? What if Doom becomes a twisted reflection of Tony Stark, using a version of Tony's face and voice, but with completely different motivations? The multiverse makes all of this possible. Spider-Man: Far From Home in 2019 deals with the aftermath of Endgame and introduces the multiverse concept more explicitly through Mysterio's lies. But even though Mysterio was fake, the idea of the multiverse is real. And in one scene, when Peter is looking at Nick Fury's computer files, there's a list of potential threats post-blip. Most of the entries are redacted or classified, but one entry shows a threat level classification for Eastern European monarchy, priority surveillance, Eastern European monarchy. Latveria is a monarchy ruled by Doom. SHIELD, or whatever organization Fury is running now, knows about Latveria and considers it a priority threat. WandaVision in 2021 explores Wanda's powers and her ability to alter reality. During the show, there are references to various magic users and mystical threats. Agatha Harkness mentions that Wanda's chaos magic is dangerous because it can rewrite reality itself, and that others have tried to harness such power. Who are these others? In the comics, Dr. Doom has repeatedly tried to steal Wanda's reality-altering powers. Is the MCU setting up the same dynamic? Agatha also mentions being hunted by those who feared my power. Could Doom be one of those hunters, seeking magical knowledge and power? There's also a blink and miss it moment in one episode where Vision is reading through sword files. On his computer screen, there's a list of enhanced individuals and entities under observation. The list includes names like Monica Rambeau and others, but there's also an entry that's completely redacted except for the first letter. V. V for Victor. V for Von Doom. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier in 2021 deals with global politics post-blip, the Flag Smashers wanting a world without borders, and the Global Repatriation Council trying to restore order. During the GRC meetings, there are representatives from nations around the world. In several wide shots of these meetings, there's a man in green who appears to be representing a small European nation. He never speaks, is never identified, but his presence is consistent throughout the series. Fans have speculated this is a Latvian diplomat, laying groundwork for Doom's political presence. Sam Wilson also has access to intelligence files about international threats. In one episode, he's reviewing data on terrorist organizations and radical groups. In the background of one shot, on a computer screen, there's a file labeled Latvian Intelligence, access restricted. Why would Latvian Intelligence be in Sam's files? Why would it be restricted? What does Latveria know that other nations don't? Loki in 2021 introduces the TVA and the multiverse explicitly. During Loki's journey through different timelines and realities, we see infinite variations of everything. In one scene, there's a brief flash of different timeline events scrolling across TVA monitors. Fans who paused and enhanced these images claim to have seen references to Doom Dynasty and Latvian Empire as variants that the TVA has pruned or monitored. This suggests that in some timelines, Doom became powerful enough to create empires that threatened the sacred timeline. There's also Miss Minutes' presentation about the multiverse war that preceded the TVA's creation. She mentions villains who tried to conquer timelines and shows silhouettes of various threats. One of those silhouettes appears to be wearing a hooded cloak and mask similar to Dr. Doom's iconic appearance. It's stylized, could be anyone, but the proportions and design are remarkably similar. What if? In 2021 explores alternate timelines officially showing us how different choices create different realities. While none of the episodes explicitly feature Doom, there are hints. In the episode where Ultron gains the Infinity Stones and becomes multiversal threat, there's a shot of him conquering different Earths. On one of those Earths, there's a castle that looks very similar to depictions of Castle Doom from the comics. Is this an Earth where Doom exists, but was defeated by Ultron? The show doesn't confirm, but the visual similarity is striking. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in 2021 introduces ancient mystical organizations and powerful artifacts. The Ten Rings themselves are of unknown origin, incredibly powerful, and have existed for thousands of years. During the final battle, when the ring's power is fully unleashed, they send out a signal or beacon into the universe. Something receives that signal. We don't know what. But fans have theorized that Doom, as a master of both technology and mysticism, would absolutely be monitoring Earth for exactly this kind of event. The ring's activation would be like a flare going off, alerting anyone watching that Earth has access to incredibly powerful magical technology. Eternals in 2021 reveals that cosmic beings have been living on Earth for thousands of years, guiding human development. If the Eternals have been here that long, influencing civilization, would they know about Latveria? Would they know about Doom? There's a scene where Cersei is looking at a map of global energy signatures, tracking celestial emergence points. In that map, there's an anomalous reading in Eastern Europe that doesn't match the celestial pattern. It's different, technological rather than biological. Doom's experiments, his technology interfering with cosmic energy readings, by Hawkeye in 2021 is street level, focused on organized crime and legacy. But there's a scene where Kate Bishop is researching international crime syndicates that might have connections to the tracksuit mafia. On her computer, there's a web of connections showing various criminal organizations around the world. One node in that web is labeled Latvian Underworld, with connections to multiple other criminal groups. This suggests Latveria has an organized crime element, possibly sanctioned or controlled by Doom, as a way to exert influence internationally while maintaining deniability. Moon Knight in 2022 deals with Egyptian gods and mysticism. During Mark Spector's journey, there are references to various gods and supernatural entities from different cultures. Khonshu mentions that gods from all mythologies exist, that they've influenced human history in ways mortals don't understand. Could Doom have encountered these gods? Could he have bargained with them for power, the way he bargains with demons in the comics? There's a scene in the Egyptian underworld where souls are being judged, and in the background, carved into the walls, are symbols from various cultures. One symbol appears to be Latverian, the same complex crest we've seen in earlier films. Why would an Egyptian afterlife have Latverian symbols, unless there's a connection between Latverian mysticism and ancient Egyptian magic? Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in 2022 is probably the most Doom-relevant film in the entire MCU, and I'm shocked more people haven't talked about this. The movie deals with dreamwalking, possessing your variant selves in other universes, which is a technique Doom uses extensively in the comics. Wanda uses the Darkhold to dreamwalk, and the Darkhold is a book of dark magic that, in the comics, Doom has also used. During the Illuminati sequence, when we see the alternate universe with different heroes, there's a brief establishing shot of that Earth. In that shot, there's a green and silver building in the background that fans have identified as architecturally similar to Castle Doom. Is this an Earth where Doom is a hero? A villain? A member of the Illuminati? We don't know, but the building is there. There's also the post-credits scene where Clea appears and tells Strange that his actions have caused an incursion, a collision between universes. She's recruiting him to fix it. Clea, in the comics, becomes romantically involved with Strange, but she also has interactions with Doom. Doom is obsessed with incursions in the comics, seeing them as both threats and opportunities. If the MCU is building toward incursion storylines, Doom absolutely has to be part of that. He might already be working on his own solution, his own way to survive or exploit the collision of realities. Thor. Love and Thunder in 2022 deals with gods and the god-killer Gore. During the gods' gathering at Omnipotent City, we see deities from countless mythologies. There are gods we recognize and many we don't. In the wide shots of the assembly, there's a figure in green and silver armor who appears to be representing a god or entity we've never seen before. Some fans speculate this could be a Latverian god, or even Doom himself having achieved godlike status through magic and presenting himself as a deity to be worshipped. It's a brief appearance, the figure is never identified, but the color scheme and armor design are suspiciously similar to Doom's aesthetic. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever in 2022 is crucial because it deals with Namor and Talokan, another hidden nation with advanced technology. The parallels to Latveria are obvious. Namor, like Doom, is a monarch of a secret nation who sees the surface world as a threat. During the UN scenes where nations are discussing how to respond to Wakanda and Talokan, there's a representative who argues for respecting the sovereignty of nations that choose isolation. This representative is never identified by country, but their argument sounds exactly like something a Latverian diplomat would say, defending Doom's right to keep his nation hidden from international oversight. There's also a scene where Shuri is analyzing Namor's technology and comparing it to Wakandan designs. She mentions that some civilizations developed independently with similar results. Is she including Latveria in that analysis? Does Shuri know about Doom? Have Wakandan intelligence services been monitoring Latveria the same way S.H.I.E.L.D. has? Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania in 2023 introduces Kang the Conqueror and explores the quantum realm. Kang is a time-traveling villain who has seen countless timelines and possibilities. During his confrontation with the heroes, he mentions that he's fought many versions of many heroes, and that some timelines have threats even he respects. Could Doom be one of those threats? In the comics, Doom and Kang have a complicated relationship, sometimes allies, sometimes enemies, but always recognizing each other as equals in intellect and ambition. There's also the Council of Kangs in the post-credits scene, showing infinite variants working together or competing. If there's a Council of Kangs, is there also a Council of Dooms? Multiple Victor Von Dooms from different realities, each one brilliant and dangerous? The multiverse makes this not just possible, but likely. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in 2023 is cosmic, far from Earth, But there's a scene where the Guardians are accessing galactic databases trying to track the High Evolutionary. In those databases, there are files on Earth and its inhabitants. One file, barely visible in the background, is labeled Earth Monarchs Threat Assessment. The file shows several names, most of which are blurred or redacted. But one name, just barely legible if you freeze frame and enhance, appears to be Von Doom, Extreme Caution. The galaxy knows about Doom. He's not just a threat to Earth, he's a threat that cosmic civilizations are monitoring. The Marvels in 2023 deals with the quantum bands and their connection to other artifacts across the universe. During Carol Danvers' investigation into the band's history, there's a reference to ancient Earth civilizations that had contact with cosmic powers. One of those civilizations, mentioned but not explored, is described as Eastern European mystical tradition with cosmic awareness. Latveria? Doom's ancestors? The movie doesn't confirm, but the description fits. Secret Invasion in 2023 reveals that Skrulls have been infiltrating Earth for years, impersonating key figures in governments and organizations. During the reveal of who's been replaced, we see politicians, military leaders, intelligence operatives. But we don't see everyone. Fan theories suggest that Doom might have detected the Skrull invasion early, might have protected Latveria from infiltration using magical wards or advanced technology. This would explain why Latveria hasn't been a bigger player in global events. Doom has been focused on protecting his own nation from alien threats, while the rest of the world remained ignorant. There's also a scene where Nick Fury is reviewing SHIELD files about alien encounters throughout history. In those files, there are references to unexplained technological advances in isolated regions that might have been influenced by alien tech. One of those regions is in Eastern Europe. Could Doom have recovered alien technology years ago? Could that be how Latveria became so advanced? Loki. Season 2 in 2023 deals with the collapse of the TVA and the branching of infinite timelines. The entire multiverse is now free to develop without the TVA pruning variant realities. This means infinite versions of every person, including infinite Doctor Dooms. During the finale, when Loki is trying to hold the timelines together, we see flashes of different realities branching off. In some of those flashes, there are images that look like Castle Doom, Latverian soldiers, and what might be Doom himself in different time periods and different roles. The multiverse is now full of Dooms, and at least one of them is going to be the main MCU version we'll see going forward. And now we arrive at the present, at the announcement that Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom in the upcoming Avengers films. Knowing this, looking back at all these clues and Easter eggs and hints, a pattern emerges. Marvel has been building toward Doom for over a decade. Not just as a villain, but as a presence in the MCU. A force that's been operating behind the scenes while the Avengers dealt with more immediate threats. The fan theories that have emerged from all of this are absolutely wild. Some people think that Doom has been manipulating events since the beginning, that he's been the hidden hand guiding certain outcomes. Others think that Tony Stark's consciousness was somehow transferred or copied and merged with Victor Von Doom from another reality, creating a hybrid character that's both Tony and Doom. Still others speculate that Doom has been watching the Avengers, studying them, learning from their victories and defeats, preparing for the moment when he would reveal himself. There's also the theory that Doom was snapped by Thanos, spent 5 years in the Soul Realm or some mystical dimension, and came back changed, more powerful, with knowledge of the multiverse that he gained during his time away. This would explain why we haven't seen him yet. He's been rebuilding, planning, waiting for the right moment. Another theory suggests that Doom is actually from a different timeline, that he's a Tony Stark who went down a darker path, who turned to mysticism and conquest instead of heroism. The multiverse allows Marvel to combine Doom and Tony in ways that would be impossible in a single timeline story. What we know for certain is that Doctor Doom is coming. Robert Downey Jr.'s involvement guarantees it will be a major event, possibly the biggest villain reveal in MCU history. And looking back at all these Easter eggs, all these hints and clues scattered across 16 years and 30-plus films and shows, it's clear that Marvel has that been planning this for a very long time. Every Latverian reference, every mysterious Eastern European diplomat, every redacted file mentioning someone named Victor, every mystical threat that Strange monitors, every technological anomaly that appears in backgrounds and databases. They're all pieces of a puzzle that's finally coming together. Doctor Doom has been hiding in plain sight since day one. We just didn't know what we were looking at. And now that we do, now that we can go back and rewatch these films with fresh eyes, the scope of Marvel's planning is absolutely staggering. They've been setting up the greatest villain in Marvel Comics history for over a decade, dropping breadcrumbs that only make sense in hindsight, building a mythology that spans the entire MCU. Doctor Doom isn't just coming to the MCU, he's been here all along. We just weren't paying attention, but now we are. And the question isn't whether Doom will be a threat to the Avengers. The question is whether the Avengers are even ready for what's coming. Because if Victor Von Doom has been watching, learning, preparing for 16 years, he's going to be unstoppable. Every Easter egg was a warning. Every hint was a threat. And we missed them all. Until now. Doctor Doom is here. He's always been here. And the MCU will never be the same.